Hey guys, Poro here with another MSI 2023 video, again with more bracket stage predictions at MSI. This video will cover JDG versus Golden Guardians, the 1 seed from LPL and the 2 seed from LCS. JDG formed what is essentially a super team, replacing Yagao with Knight and Hope with Ruler in the offseason. On paper, this roster should have blown LPL wide open, but in reality, JDG finished regular season tied first with both LNG and EDG. They ended up winning playoffs, but it wasn't entirely convincing as they dropped multiple games to BLG on the way. While all 5 players show tremendously high ceilings, the team struggles to work together at times and can look a bit sloppier than more coordinated teams like EDG. In the top lane is 369, who was the strongest LPL top laner in summer of 2022. In 2023, it's contestable whether you prefer 369 or Bin, but 369 is definitely still up there with an argument. Unlike Bin, 369 specializes in weak side play and utility champions, and you'll find him on picks like Sion, K'Sante, Renekton, and Gragas. In terms of tank play, he's second to none. He's also picked up some unique tanks like Cho'Gath and Ornn, so keep an eye out for those. In the jungle is Kanavi, who I would consider to be the staple definition of a carry jungler. No matter the meta, Kanavi will find a way to just randomly get kills anyway. He played a lot of Vi, Wukong, and Lee Sin this season, but don't be surprised if he busts out carries like Nidalee, Viego, Elise, Sylas, and even Bel'Veth if he's feeling it. In the mid lane is Knight, the star mid laner from the LPL who's never performed up to par internationally before. He had a fairly decent Worlds 2020, but his team made an exit in semifinals after getting upset, and this most recent Worlds 2022 was a very poor showing from the entire team across the board. He's back and ready to finally show what he's made of though, especially with Ahri sitting atop the priority list. This guy absolutely pops off on Ahri, and he even had a 16 bomb on the pick earlier this split. At ADC is Ruler, who was the best ADC in the world in 2022. Barring any surprises, he's still expected to be the best at MSI as well. Ruler plays a lot less aggressively than the other ADCs in LPL, but he is by no means passive. In terms of 1v9 style players, Ruler is probably the best there is. Expect hyper carries from him like Jinx, Aphelios, Zeri, and Xayah. Then we have Missing, who is quite possibly one of the most underrated supports of all time. Missing was a big reason why WE was as successful as they were in 2021, and was the best support in LPL in 2022. Despite this, his name is never really tossed around in best supports conversations when it really should be. He plays a bit of everything, but will mostly combo based on what Ruler wants to pick up. Golden Guardians was able to surprise everyone and take a game off of BLG and play-ins, a feat that Cloud9 could not manage earlier today. Their season was a bit wacky as they started 0-4 without their full roster and then went on a 7-game win streak, only to look mediocre again leading into playoffs. They came in as the 6th seed in playoffs and had to win multiple series in a row to make it all the way to the finals in what was basically a miracle run. There, they lost to Cloud9 3-1. In the top lane is Licorice, who left much to be desired in the LCS, but has been stepping up big time at MSI so far. He spent playoffs and some of this MSI getting more counter picks, and it's worked out well for him. Poppy, K'Sante, and Kennen have been his go-to picks, but if he gets to counterpick a 369 tank, he may whip out a Gwen or a Fiora. In the jungle is River, who is the backbone for this team in the early and mid game. River has the ability to look for super creative gank angles and pathing and can throw the enemy off, and he's also a very good team fighter on the right champions. There's been a heavy priority for Viego on him at MSI, as well as Vi and Wukong picks in playoffs, but his signature pick is Jarvan 4. Gory is coming into LCS after bouncing around regions. He went from dominating LCK on Nongshim, to underperforming in LPL on FPX, to doing fairly well in PCS on PSG, and now a top 2 mid laner in LCS. Gory will definitely have a bone to pick against Knight after losing to him in LPL with a glorious 18-0 scoreline. He plays mainly pick champs like Ahri, Lissandra, and LeBlanc, but has shown some spicy stuff too like K'Sante and Yasuo. Stixxay is one of 2 members on Golden Guardians who are making their return to MSI after their 2016 finals appearance. It's been a rough past few years for Stixxay, who semi-retired, went to coaching, worked his way back through the academy system, and then finally landed a spot in LCS again. He stepped up big time in regular season, but was completely outclassed in the games against Elk and On. Stixxay leans towards the standard picks, but has shown a willingness to flex Tristana into the bot lane. Finally is Huhi, who is the other member who is making their return to MSI from 2016. Huhi was a mid laner back then, but he's been playing support for the last while. He's mainly known for his engage champs, and he got to bring out his set twice so far. On the flip side, many people criticize his ranged support play and itemization. So, how do I think these teams stack up? Unfortunately, it's not looking good for Golden Guardians. If Stixxay and Huhi couldn't match Elk and On, they definitely won't be able to match Ruler and Missing. Same thing goes for Gory, who struggled against most of the LPL mids in his time there, versus Knight, who is one of the best domestic LPL mid laners of all time. Golden Guardians is simply outclassed in all 5 roles. I'm not sure where River's supposed to apply pressure in order to win these games. 369 is a wall that will not be broken through easily, and Kanavi will likely be playing around his mid and bot laners this series. Speaking of Kanavi, it's definitely going to be a strong meta for him, and he'll take over the game if he snowballs even a little bit. The one avenue that I can see for Golden Guardians possibly taking an edge would be in team identity, as JDG did struggle to work well together as a unit, whereas Golden Guardians has some of the best team play in North America, but their pure player skill and mechanics gap should be enough to get rid of any hope that may bring. I've got JDG taking this series with 95-5 odds, making for a full Eastern upper bracket and a full Western lower bracket. That's all I've got for this one, and I'll see you guys with more predictions later. Bye!